Thank you. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. This is my favorite crowd. It really is. I love speaking here. But before I get started, being a lawyer, I've got a couple of disclaimers that I've got to make. First of all, a lawyer giving a presentation about chess. Doesn't sound very compelling, I understand that. If you haven't filled up your coffee, fill it up. If you fall asleep in the middle, I will not be offended. But if you're a snorer, please think about your neighbor before you fall asleep. You might want to leave the room if you're getting that place. So, another disclaimer is I did not pay attention to the slide guidelines. I was reading them after I produced my slides. I broke every rule. So I apologize. I should have hired a professional. I didn't. My slides really, they're not compliant. So sorry about that. And for the organizers, next time I will review the guidelines first. So here we are, chess and law. So it was a morning, Saturday morning. It was an October Saturday morning about 1.5 years ago. And I was sitting on the couch in my living room. And for some reason, out of the blue, I decided I want to play a game of chess. Now, before that, I learned how to play chess as a kid, but I just never really played. But I knew that there were websites where you could go online and play chess with strangers. And so I found chess.com, I signed up, and I started playing. And let's see if I can, oh, there we go. Got my buttons backwards. So this is a self-portrait. Me playing my first game of chess. Unfortunately, I'm not a great artist. I couldn't draw a couch. So you'll have to visualize, I'm not in a kitchen chair, but I'm actually on the couch playing my first game of chess. So from that day forward, though, chess has been an important part of my life. And it's brought me a lot of entertainment. It's brought me education. I have met a ton of interesting people. And it's really enhanced my life. And so this morning, I'd like to share that experience with you, along with a few lessons that I have learned. Fortunately, I have 5 lessons, which is an odd number, which I just learned is a very good thing to do. Like my humor, it's not planned. Anything is incidental, any success in marketing for me. So chess is an ancient game, but it's also very popular, which I learned this morning just talking to people. I now have several challenges to play people, and I am a beginner. Not very good, but I do take all challenges. I'm 314Brian on chess.com. If you want to send me a challenge, I'd be happy to play. So, but even though it's an ancient game, it's popular, 75% of US adults have played chess at some point. Can I see, is there anybody who's played chess at some point in their life? So we're pretty close. We're probably pushing the average up a little bit, I'd say 80, 85%. But the stat that's surprising to me is 15% of adults play regularly. And I thought that I'd let my inner geek come out in my late 40s by embracing chess, but apparently 15% of America is as geeky as I am, which is awesome. So, but it's an ancient game. It's a game of strategy. It's also a game of tactics. It's a game of deep thinking and also intuition. So this is the beginning of a chessboard. You can see that each side has 16 pieces. They're aligned, ready to do battle. So there's 6 different pieces, and the different pieces have different values. Now, there's no scorekeeping. You don't gain points in chess, but it's important to know the relative value of the pieces while you're playing. And so the pawn is worth 1 point. The knights and bishops are worth 3. Rooks are worth 5. The queen is worth 9, and the king has infinite value because if you lose the king, you lost your game. So the value of the chess pieces is basically a function of the piece's mobility. So each piece has its own rules on how it can move. The pawn is only worth 1 point because it really has the least mobility of any piece. So it can only move forward, it can't move backward, and it can only move vertically in the file that it starts in. It can move 2 spaces on the first turn, but 1 space any other turn, so not very mobile. The knight is a lot more mobile, so it's worth 3 points, and it moves kind of in L shapes. So it goes over 2, up 1, over 2. So this knight can move to any of these 8 squares from where it starts. Bishops are very mobile, worth 3 points. They can move diagonally in any direction. So this bishop can move to any of these squares. You'll notice that it's on a white square and it can only stay on white squares. That's why it's not more valuable. There's also a dark squared bishop that can move to all the dark squares. The rook move as many squares as it wants, up and down, side to side. Since it can move anywhere on the board, it's worth 5 points. The queen is the most valuable piece because it can move anywhere. So the queen can move any of these spaces. And then the king can also move in any direction, but just 1 point. Or excuse me, one space. So here's the basic rules for moving and capturing. So you can't move through another point, but for, like every rule, there's an exception. If you're a knight, you can move through another piece. I think I said point, I meant piece. You capture a piece by occupying the square that it's on, and once a piece gets captured, it's out of the game. So you start with 16 pieces. Once they get captured, your army kind of dwindles down. So here's some quick scenarios. This white rook, if it's white's turn, can capture the black rook by going to its piece. The bishop can move diagonally and capture the queen. King can move over one square and capture it. Now the pawns, again, there's exceptions to every rule. The pawns are the one piece that don't move and capture in the same way. So as I mentioned, pawns can move forward one square. So the pawn on the left or the right of the black rook can move one square. The pawn in the middle, though, is stuck. It can't move because it can't capture forward. Pawns capture diagonally. So the pawn on the left can capture the rook diagonally to the right, the pawn on the right. So in this example, the left one takes it. So here's I'm going to show a quick maneuver called an exchange. And an exchange is basically where one side gives up a piece, it captures a piece, but in doing that, it's going to give one up. And it's important to know the relative value of the pieces to know whether the exchange is worthwhile. So here, the white bishop captures the black rook, but then the pawn is going to take it after that. So is it worth it? Should white do that? Probably so, because it gives up a bishop worth 3, but black gives up a rook worth 5. So that brings us to lesson number 1, which is your greatest strength can be your biggest weakness. So you can see in this position, the black pawn is protecting the black bishop. So if the white rook captures the black bishop, the rook's going to be given up too. So it's not going to be worth it because in order to capture the bishop, white's going to lose a piece that's worth more. So the pawn is very effective in protecting other pieces. So what about a situation like this one, where in protecting a piece, the pawn is going to be sacrificed also, and that's where the value of the pawn really comes in. And so here we've got the same situation, but at the end of the series of moves, the white rook is going to capture the black pawn. So will the pawn be effective in protecting the bishop? Yes, because in order to take the bishop, white will give up a rook worth 5, and it'll only capture pieces worth 4. And so the pawn is going to be effective in protecting that piece. So you would think the queen, because it's the most mobile piece, would be the best one to protect other pieces. And the queen is most valuable because she can move anywhere. But that's also her biggest weakness. So if you put her in the same situation, protecting this bishop, at the end, the queen's going to get captured. And so what's the math here? White will gladly collect a bishop and a queen in exchange for a rook. So the queen's greatest strength in chess can be its greatest weakness. And that's also true in life and in business. A lot of us have read the book by Richard Gerber, The E-Myth, or The E-Myth Revisited. And he talks about 3 different personality types of people who start businesses. So you might be a great pie baker, so you decide, I'm going to open a bakery. Well, being a good pie baker, you're a good technician. You can actually do the work well. But there's 2 other types of personalities, and that's manager and entrepreneur. If you don't have a manager personality where you can run an operation, not just bake pies, or if you don't have the vision and the risk-taking spirit of an entrepreneur, your business is never going to work. You'll be stuck working in your business, not on your business. You'll make great pies, but you'll never be a successful business person. And a lot of us are great technicians in our business, but we're not good managers, or we're not good entrepreneurs. Some of us are good entrepreneurs, but we're not good managers or technicians. So whatever personality type you are, don't let that strength be your biggest weakness. Don't let it derail your journey of building your business, but find other people that can complement your weaknesses, and don't let your biggest strength be your greatest weakness. So lesson number 2 is that solid strategies lead to tactical opportunities. And so one of the biggest challenges as a beginning chess player is you know how the pieces move, but then you don't know what to do. Is this a good move, a bad move? If you follow these 3 basic opening principles, then you're a beginner, your game will improve immensely. So control the center, develop your pieces, and protect your king. So here's a starting position. So one of the things you want to do is control the spaces in the center. The other is to develop your pieces. You can see the back line of pieces, they're all stuck behind pawns, so they're kind of useless. They can't do anything. So you want to get those pieces out into the action. And then the third is to protect your king, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So this is the most popular move in chess, is to move the pawn in front of the king 2 moves forward. And you can see that in doing that, the pawn exerts some control over some of the center pieces. And then a good second move is to move out one of your knights. And you can see now we've got eight squares that are under the influence of these 2 pieces. And one of the advantages of moving that pawn out is it opens up an alley for your bishop to come out and come into the game. And then once that bishop's out there, look at all these squares that you have control over. And then the last one, there's a special move called castling, where you can move if there's no pieces between your king and your rook, you can move the king over 2 squares and move the rook on the other side of it. And you can see it tucks him away nicely. He's very protected by his rook and his pawns. So that's a good, solid opening strategy. This is one of my games. 4 moves in, I'm white. You can see I tried to use the good opening principles. I've got one of my pawns out there. I've got 3 pieces developed already. But my opponent has only moved pawns. So even though he's got some good control over the center, he hasn't developed any pieces, and his king is a long way from being castled. And he gets punished for it later. So this is several moves later. And if you look at this position, on the next best move is to move the bishop over here, which will attack the queen, which is a very valuable piece, and the rook, which is more valuable than the bishop. And so the queen's going to have to move out of the way, and the bishop's going to take the rook. And there's still a lot of work to be done. Certainly the game wouldn't have been won here, but white's in a really good spot here. Unfortunately, I didn't see that move, and so that's not the actual move that I made in the game. So. One of my other disclaimers that I wanted to tell you is I'm a bad chess player. So, lesson number 3, deep thinking and intuition complement each other, and they're very important. One of the real lessons I learned from chess is just the power of focused thought. So this is an example of a tactics puzzle, and one of the ways to train and learn chess is to look at these positions and try to find the best move. There's one really good move that will basically win the game for black. And you can look at these things and mentally move all these pieces in your mind for several minutes, and then suddenly the answer will come to you. And so you don't see it at first. It's not intuitive at all. And so here, if the black queen moves over, and the board's actually upside down because it's black that's moving, but it's from white's point of view, but it forces the king to run away, and that's going to give the black rook an opportunity to move down. And now the king has nowhere to go, so the queen is forced to take the rook, and there's black's queen ready to take white's queen. So deep thinking is a real part of chess. I mean, sometimes you just have to really look at it and study it. But intuition is also very important, because sometimes you can just feel you're in trouble, and you don't see it yet. Something looks off, and then you look at it more closely and you realize that you're in real danger. And so one of the interesting examples of that is Magnus Carlsen, who's been the world chess champion for 5 years, or excuse me, longer than that, since 2013. He faced off against Fabiano Caruana last November. They played 12 games, they tied every game. And Magnus is, not just one of the best players ever, but he's also known for just having great intuition. And Fabiano is known for being able to calculate so many moves in advance. He can just really figure out what the best move is, but that takes time. And so they played 12 games, they tied, and the kind of the intuition versus the deep thinking. And then Fabiano, unfortunately, got beat in the tiebreaker games, which were quicker, and he didn't have time for the calculations, and so the intuition kind of won out. But just that, to me, one of the most important lessons in this is just that deep thinking is very powerful. I often try to solve problems by mulling it over for a long time, and often, a solution might come to me, but just deep, focused thinking can be very powerful, but intuition is also very important. And I should say on that too, before I leave, I know I don't have a ton of time, but I think I have time to finish up and still say this. Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote The Tipping Point, also wrote a book called Blink. And the subtitle is The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. And it's really about how powerful intuition is, particularly in fields that you have a lot of expertise at. And sometimes that split decision, you know immediately what the right answer is just because of your intuition. That's really powerful in life and business, and also sometimes in chess. So lesson number 4, old dogs need new tricks. I was 48 years old when I discovered chess. It's really enhanced my life. It's been a lot of fun and made my life better. A lot of times we kind of get in a rut. I don't know what I was going to do that Saturday morning, but it really kind of changed, the next year and a half of my life, hopefully longer, and really influenced where I was going because I, was interested in something. I decided to pursue that a little bit, and now my life has greatly been enhanced by that. The daily grind, and especially in business, can really be a grind. But we should try to look for new horizons and try new things. It might really enhance our lives, and who knows where that'll lead. I was just sitting on the couch on a Saturday morning. Now I'm saying weird things about chess in front of an audience of business friends. So you never know what's going to happen. So. And then my last lesson, the magic number 5, don't be afraid to get a little mud on your face. I started playing in October. I just played online. I really got pulled into the website and playing people online. And then after a while I thought, chess is geeky enough, but I'm doing it on a computer in the privacy of my own home. I should get out there and share it with other people and meet people. So I went to the St. Louis Chess Club and joined it and started playing chess there. And St. Louis, by the way, is one of the most amazing places to play chess. If you go to the Central West End, you're going to run into grandmasters because that's where the chess club is. Some of the best chess players in the world come through here. The the U.S. Chess Championships has been played in the St. Louis Chess Club for the last 11 years. And I've seen, you can go watch them in person play. And I admit watching people play chess isn't necessarily exciting, but seeing people that are the best at the world at what they do, and you're standing 5 feet from them and watching them do their thing is pretty magical, no matter how interesting or how little you understand about what they're actually doing. So, I decided to go play in person, and I knew when I went there, I'm not a good chess player. I was a beginner. I'd been playing for maybe 6 months. I knew I was going to get beat bad. But I didn't expect this. So, again, this is a self-portrait. I'm the loser. I don't know if you can. So this guy, I have a literal game in my mind, it was a long game, long time control, so we had plenty of time to think. The poor guy was 8 years old. He was bored to death watching me try to struggle and find good moves. He was walking all over the tournament hall. And then he'd sit down, make a quick move, and then walk around again. And after he defeated me soundly, I asked him, so, you know, how old are you? He told me he was 8. I said, how long have you been playing chess? Which is kind of a funny question because it couldn't have been that long. So he's been playing 2 years. And he's probably better than I will ever be if I continue on this journey with chess. But you know, the lesson for me is, even though it's humbling, I mean, I'm a business lawyer. I'm used to, you know, having some say that's somewhat authoritative in a lot of situations. But in this, you know, the kid can move a piece as well as I can, and he certainly knew where to move them and when a whole lot better than I did. But I wasn't afraid to get mud on my face. I still go. I'm still getting beat by the 8-year-olds. Although there's a couple there that I can actually beat. So. And every now and then there's an old man like me who's also there to play. So, but what's your chess? I mean, for me, you know, I got up one day, I discovered something new that enhanced my life, and it was there to be had. All of us also have those things, those opportunities. If you're willing to broaden your horizons and take, you know, take a chance, and don't be afraid to have mud on your face. But ask yourself, what is your chance? What is your chess? And well, just go do it. So I think we have time for questions.
2 questions.
2 questions. I thought when she said I was out of time, that did not include questions. But
Questions for Brian?
perfect then. Thank you.
This isn't a question. I just want to tell you that something really hit me, which is when you're under pressure and there's not much time, follow your gut. It's a really big message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question over here.
Okay.
Right here.
Cynthia, got it.
Sorry.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned from playing chess that you've been able to transfer over to your business?
I think it's the deep thinking. That was the one true eye-opener, is just, I never understood the power of just focused thought. Like really, really focused thought. You're doing everything, putting all your mental powers on concentrating on one thing without doing anything else for a few minutes. That's pretty amazing. So, and I know we're out of time, so thank you very much.